Like ordering takeout only to get home and find out your egg rolls are missing. These games are kinda like that. Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 most disappointing games of 2018.
2018 has been an absolute roller coaster of a year. Click the link below to find our best and worst of 2018 videos for a look back at all the awesome and crazy things that happened.
For this list, we're looking at games that had us pumped at one point in time, but ultimately let us down. Not everything on the list is outright bad, but rather they did not meet our expectations. Just a quick note though, we won't be talking about Metal Gear Survive here, seeing as we had super low expectations to begin with. Like, really low.
Well, I think we have a plan. Let's get started right away.
Number 10, Dynasty Warriors 9. This series has been around for a long time and grew stale in its last few entries. When news came along that the 9th game was getting a serious overhaul and being moved to an open world environment, our ears perked up and we were once again excited for some hack and slash goodness.
Without me, there is no one to give orders to the archers.
But the jump to open world gameplay just didn't work in this case and detracted from the best elements of the Dynasty Warriors series, the fast-paced combat. What we were left with was a game that wasn't a good sandbox adventure, and one that, oddly enough, was no longer a fun action game either. It's kind of the worst of both worlds. Number 9, Jurassic World Evolution. When news first broke out that this game was a sim-type management game set within the legendary theme park, our excitement was at an all-time high. I mean, how cool a concept is that? Unfortunately, there was little in the way of explanation of how to manage your dinosaur-filled park, and once you figured it out, there wasn't anything more to learn, making for a repetitive and far too simple game overall.
You need to medicate that animal if you are to save it.
There's no doubt that it looks great and is fun for a short time, but we were hoping for a dino simulation game with a lot more depth. That said, however, a few tweaks could make this game a winner next time around.
Every day more exciting than the last. That's my motto.
Number 8, Agony. This is another game that we really wanted to be good. Being dropped into hell and being forced to survive on our wits and stealth is a very cool premise. And on top of that, the initial gameplay looked hauntingly beautiful and atmospheric. But unfortunately, the gameplay just couldn't live up to the visuals, and overall, we felt like this game could have benefited with a bit more time in development. It was quite buggy upon release, the stealth system never quite worked as advertised, and there was little in the way of story. Ultimately, our time in hell just felt boring and unfinished, and left us wanting much more. Number 7, We Happy Few.
He wants to do a live broadcast from here.
He's coming here?
There was a lot of hype surrounding Compulsion Games' ambitious immersive sim, but most of that quickly died away upon the game's release. Our own reviewer over at Mojo Plays found the story and world building to be absolutely captivating. But it was all completely overshadowed by its mediocre gameplay all round.
That's the first fight I've won since primary school.
The game's stealth system was well designed, but frustrating to the point of breaking the game due to inconsistent AI and glitches resulting in being spotted. A few patches have surfaced since its release, with some issues improved. But at the end of the day, all we can do is look back at how this game's potential ended up being completely completely squandered.
Do we really have to do this?
Number 6, Kirby Star Allies. The marketing for this game didn't feel genuine, and we can't help but feel that Kirby's latest adventure was developed solely for children, but advertised as a game for everyone. It's way too short, too easy, and didn't offer branching paths like in previous Kirby games. While it is indeed cool to have multiple abilities mixed up from your different allies, it feels completely meaningless when the game doesn't really give you any reason to strategize your approach when stages are this simple. It's a shame too, considering this was the first mainline Kirby game to go HD. Number 5, Starlink Battle for Atlas.
It's go time, boys! Malco here, I got you covered.
Imagine exploring No Man's Sky in a cool ship, backed by an actual story, and having Star Fox content to boot. Such a game would clearly rock, no? Well, it does and it doesn't. We're rather conflicted with this one, seeing as the spaceship combat and vibrant environments of each world are all really good, but the repetitive and often bland quests made it feel like a slog to get through. As eventually the game starts to feel like a routine chore rather than an engaging experience. But hey, it was great seeing Fox McCloud again.
You guys need all the help you can get.
Number 4, Secret of Mana Remake.
Oh, right. You're that dummy I saved earlier. Sorry about before.
This SNES classic is one of the best JRPGs ever made, period. The remake, however, came across as a half-assed attempt by Square Enix to cash in on nostalgia and was a disservice to loyal fans. Its visuals were outdated, the hitboxes were abhorrent, and the soundtrack, my god did they butcher the soundtrack. This is the original. And here's the remake's version. Oh, my ears! If you're able to overlook all these things, then Secret of Mana could be enjoyable and recall some great memories, but that's a lot to expect from gamers, seeing as it's a remake and not an original IP. We just suggest playing the far superior SNES Classic version and forgetting this misstep.
Well, when you put it that way...
Number 3, State of Decay 2. The newest entry in Microsoft's survival series felt more like an upgrade than a new game. Barely fixing any of the problems from the original title, the sequel felt unpolished and filled with bugs. It was unforgivable. There were times that a glitch would lead to cheap deaths, that the game became more frustrating than fun, especially seeing as there are no manual saves and permadeath is a thing. The ally AI was pretty dumb overall, and oftentimes caused more trouble for us than they did provide any benefit. Sure, a lot of bugs can be patched, but its release date was just unacceptable. Number 2, Fallout 76.
Out there in Appalachia.
As more and more information was released about Bethesda's online Fallout game, we stayed optimistic despite the overwhelming consensus that something just wasn't right. Then the beta hit, and it was harder to ignore that it wasn't living up to expectations. Unfortunately, the full release didn't change our opinions either, as the game feels empty without NPCs or a main storyline. The open world of West Virginia is still really buggy, and the frame rate hasn't improved. There's no doubt that Bethesda will tweak the current state of Fallout 76 moving forward, but the fact that it was launched in this barren, broken state doesn't give us much hope for its future. Number 1. Sea of Thieves. Where to start with this one? Well, let's begin with the fact that our excitement level for Rare's first major release since their Kinect titles was at a fever pitch. Not to mention that this was to be the Xbox One's premiere exclusive for the year, so we couldn't wait to tackle their open world pirate adventure. But oh man, what a letdown. For starters, the lack of guidance really hindered our first few hours of play. There was barely any content, and the lack of a proper progression system gave us no reason to stay around. Even now, we're finding it hard to see how this game took 4 years to develop with little to show for it. Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.